into the oral Torah, which is the Mishnah, into the Gemara, and then into what's called the Poskim. These are the lawgivers, the codifiers, such as the Rambam or the Ramban. Then he comprehends and the wisdom of God, and he grasps the will of God in his mind. And this is something that otherwise no thought can grasp, because Hashem is infinite. So here you have Hashem and the Torah are in your mind, and Hashem and the Torah are one thing. Hashem, you have Hashem. You become connected completely with Hashem. And he says here on page 94, just by way of summary, you're grasping the will and wisdom of Hashem in your mind, which no thought can grasp except when they are enclosed in the halachas which are set out before us. And not only is that the halacha in your mind, but as you're learning it and studying it and remembering it and applying it, then your mind is in the halacha. And this is here we go, bottom of page 94. And this is a most wonderful unity. And there is nothing in the physical realm that can compare to this unity of one's mind with the divine intellect, God's intellect expressed in the Torah and in the Law, in the Mishnah, and the Gemara, and the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, in the Shulchan Aruch. And they become one thing, united on every side and angle. Now we're moving up to page 95. And this is the great, extraordinary, infinitely superior quality of a mitzvah of knowing and comprehending Torah over all other mitzvahs. It's greater than all the mitzvahs of the Torah. Because when you do a mitzvah, there's the you and the doing of the mitzvah, and it's like two things connected. But when you know Torah, it's not two different things connected. It's one thing. It's a complete unity. When you're doing a mitzvah, it's like you're wearing a garment. The Torah is not a garment that you wear outside of you. It's in you. It's in your mind, in your heart to do it. So there's the great advantage of learning Torah, knowing Torah, over all the other mitzvahs. Even mitzvahs that we perform through learning, by speaking, because we learn when we speak, and we learn together with the chavrusa. So you would say, well, that's a tremendous unity. I'm speaking the words of the Torah. So that I am unified with the Torah. And he's gonna answer that question. Why it's not exactly. Not the same as when the Torah is in your mind. When it's in your mouth, in your speech, so that's an activity. Speaking is an activity. To a certain degree, is more external than knowledge. And this makes the knowledge of Torah greater than all the other mitzvahs involving action, and even those involving speech, he says here, and even greater than the mitzvah of studying Torah. So knowing Torah, he says, is even greater than studying Torah. He's going to explain why. Because, moving down, page 95 in the middle, the al yedei kol ha-mitzvahs, through all the mitzvahs that we perform through speaking, learning Torah, or doing, carrying out mitzvahs, HaKadosh Baruch Hu malbish es hanefesh. Hashem becomes like a garment enclothing the soul. Umakifa or havaya, and the light of Hashem surrounds the person. Miroishe bi'ad raglo, and it's like you're putting on a garment. Deep sea divers, they put on a diving suit. So when we're learning Torah or doing mitzvahs, it's like we're putting on a diving suit of Hashem's light, a diving suit of light. But through knowledge of Torah, now 1, 2, 3, the fourth paragraph, b'yadiyas Torah, through knowing Torah, your mind is enclosed in the wisdom of God, and the wisdom of God is within you. It's internal now. Masha haseichel masig, because with your mind you understand and you grasp your teves, you grasp umakif, and you surround with your mind, b'sichle, with your intellect, masha efshar litfais, as much as it's possible for you to grasp and understand, lahasig miyadiyas Torah, as much as it's possible for you to deal with and mentally, according to your intelligence, according to your mental capacity. Obviously, a young child learns something very basic. As you grow older, you understand it better. As you grow older still, you understand deeper levels of significance and associations and ramifications. Each person, according to as his mind grows, he understands wider and wider. Each person, according to his talent, according to his intelligence, the koyach yadiyaseh, and the power he has to grasp an idea, and to understand in the different levels of Torah, which he lists here at the bottom of the page. Pshat, simple meaning; remez, meanings that are alluded to, or deeper levels of meaning, associations, or drush, which is ethical lessons that we learn from this piece of knowledge. What's an ethical lesson of the difference? This teaches us something about the difference between right and wrong. And so, which is the same thing expressed through the lens of Kabbalah. Page 96. Olafi should be a dias atayra, atayra melubeshes, the nefesh adam. And since through knowing Torah, the Torah becomes enclosed in the mind of the person, umukefes b'seicham, and the Torah law is encompassed within the mind of the person. So therefore, a very important analogy here, lochen nikras, therefore the Torah is called, compared to food, lechem. Umozain hanefesh, and it is nourishment for the soul. The Torah nourishes the soul. So someone like holy people, they don't seem to eat very much. Never saw the Rebbe eating. Rebbe hardly touched food, and yet he had amazing energy all the time, because he drew from the energy in the food the essence of what it was, and anything else he didn't need. So this is a very important simile to know and remember that the Torah is called by the term of lechem. Torah is lechem, is food. Man was lechem in Hashemayim. The manna that the Jews lived on in the desert, came from heaven itself. After we left the desert, it still comes, but it's enclosed in nature. It doesn't appear to us that it's coming from Shemayim. It appears to us it's coming to us from our hard work, and we pay for it with money that we earn. But that's just a disguise. Really, it's the same thing. the food that we get that we buy and we eat, we say a bracha before and a bracha after, is the same as the man that the Jewish people got when they were in the desert. It's just that it comes disguised through human activity. So therefore, since Torah becomes internalized in you by becoming part of your mind, it's called bread and food of the soul. In the middle of page 96. Hagashmi, zanes haguf, exactly the same way that food, physical food, nourishes our body. When we ingest the food, we bring the food, we eat it, we swallow it, we bring it into our body, mamish, literally into our body. And the food there is transformed, and the food becomes flesh and blood. It becomes you. The same way the Torah becomes you and gives you energy. And this way a person lives, and he says in English, Yiskayim is sustained. Yiskayim means he keeps on living. Similarly, through knowing Torah, Vasagasa, and understanding it, the Nefesh Adam, which a person accomplishes, it's a soul, an activity of his soul, when he has learned the Torah very, very deeply. Now pay attention to this. And he describes levels of understanding here. You learn an idea, it becomes your flesh and blood, and it becomes unified with you to the extent that you grasp it with your seichel, with your intellect. 2, umisachedes imay, and it becomes unified with you. 2 is call that 3, like two things joined with this gorilla glue. Yeah. And they become not two things that are joined, but they become one thing. And that's through these stages, the Torah becomes mazoin, becomes nourishment for the soul. Page 97. And gives you energy and life. Becomes a source of energy and life in you. And where is the life from? Page 97, from the source of life. So the Torah becomes life from the source of life, which is Hashem, Baruch Hu, Hamalubish, because the source of life, Hashem, is enclosed, B'chachmosai, in His wisdom, V'sai Rasai, and in the Torah, Shabakir Ba, which is now in the person who's learned it. You got that? Through learning the Torah, 1, for review, the Torah is something that you grasp with your mind, and it becomes one thing with your mind, and then it becomes not something that is new, that has entered your mind and become one with your mind. It becomes completely unified with your mind. And that at this stage, it becomes nourishment, becomes energy for your soul, and gives you life from the source of life, because the source of life is in the Torah with you, which you've just learned. That's where it is. That's where Hashem may be found. Page 97, paragraph 2. And this is what it says. Who says this? David HaMelech says in Tehillim, Hashem, he's praising Hashem, he's thanking Hashem, he's grateful to Hashem. And he says, Hashem, why do I love you? Your Torah is in my kishkas. You know what your kishkas are? Your intestines. So he's taking it very, David HaMelech says this very literally. The intestines are the area in the goof where we transform physical food into flesh and blood and energy. And David HaMelech says, and that's what your Torah is to me. Your Torah is in my intestines. May Tairasacha B'seich Me'ai. Chapter 40, we can look it up. It's in chapter 40 of Tehillim. No glasses today? Torah he mozen l'neshamas, and the Torah therefore is called food for the souls when we don't feel the Torah is our food now, but in the world to come, Torah is the food. What the question is, an interesting question. The soul lives on. After your soul leaves to a certain degree, major leaves, the body remains here in the place of where it's resting. And the soul goes to Gan Eden. Soul goes to the world to come. Does it need food? Yes. Does it need clothes? Yes. What's the food of the souls in Gan Eden? This is what he tells us here. How would you know this if you didn't learn Tanya? Torah he moslem l'neshames. So Torah is food and nourishment for the souls in Gan Eden. I skipped a paragraph here. The Torah is in my kishkas. As it says in the book called Eitz Chaim. Okay, there's a clue here. The book is called Eitz Chaim. Who wrote it? Chaim Vital. Who was Chaim Vital? He was the only one that wrote down the teachings of the Arizal. Who was the Arizal? Rabbi Yitzchak Luria. Well, all these ideas, mystical ideas, we receive them from the Arizal. The Arizal was the leader of the Mekubolim and Sfas in the 1500s. His name was Ashkenazi, but he grew up in Egypt. I guess his mother was Sephardic and his mother was Ashkenaz. Father must have been Ashkenaz. And he spent his days and nights devoted to learning. He would just come home for Shabbos. And he was a very exalted neshama. And when he was 38, he received a message from heaven that he should go to Sfas. He went to Sfas. He became a disciple of Reb Moshe of Cordova, who was probably displaced because of the Inquisition, and he ended up in Sfas. He was the leader of the mystics, the Mekubolim, in Sfas, and the Arizal became his follower, his Talmud, and for 6 months. After 6 months, he passed. And what I read up on this was that at the Levaya, at the funeral, when of the Reb Moshe Cordova, there was like a flame that went from him by all the Talmidim, and at the Arizal it stopped. So they knew that he was meant to continue the teachings. Okay. But nobody was allowed to write down the teachings of the Arizal, and he only lived another 18 months. At the age of 40, his term on this world was over. But we get everything from him. And how do we get it? Because his foremost Talmud was Chaim Vital, and he wrote it down, and his book is called The Tree of Chaim, The Tree of Life. Okay, so it says there in The Tree of Life, Chaim Vital, in the middle of page 97, and the 49th, and the 44th gate, 3rd chapter, Shalavusha HaNeshamas in Gan Eden, we're very concerned about proper dress and garments in this world. Do we want to have beautiful garments? If we're going to the palace of the king, we need to have beautiful garments to wear. You have to wear your best. You're going to the king and to see the king in the palace, you need to wear your best garments. What are your garments when you're going into Gan Eden? These are the mitzvahs that you did in this world. So we want to try and do mitzvahs in this world with all the concentration and devotion and love and respect that's possible for us, so that we will have garments filled with these qualities in the world to come. So the mitzvahs are the garments of the soul in Gan Eden. After all, I mean, what are you gonna wear? There was a family, I used to eat with them very often when I was in England, and they moved eventually to Israel, and the husband purchased a place in Har Hazeisim for himself and his wife. And he took her to see the place, and she said to him, why did you purchase this place? This is all old people here. Who am I going to talk to? So who am I going to talk to? What am I going to wear? So Reb Chaim Vital says that the Torah is, the mitzvahs of the Torah are the garments of the neshama in Gan Eden. And the Torah, continuing now in the fourth paragraph, page 97, the Torah is called the food for the neshama in Gan Eden. You see how important it is that we should learn as well as we can, and no matter how tired you are, try and do a little bit more, to concentrate a little bit more. It'll all pay off in the end. But there's a condition. What's the condition? That the Torah that you learn in this world and the mitzvahs that you do have to be done lishma. What does the word lishma means? It means for their own sake. You do the mitzvah because it's Hashem's mitzvah. That's all. Some people, otherwise it's called an ulterior motive. I learn Torah because I have an ulterior motive. I want to get a job. I want to get a good shidduch. I want to be respectable amongst my scholarly friends or my peers. Or I think I'll be a happy person if I learn Torah for its own sake. These are all ulterior motives. A person has to learn Torah because it's Hashem. Because we have to learn Torah lishma means we learn it because we want to be connected to Hashem. That's all. When you love someone, you want to be connected with them. Well, how can you hug Hashem? How can you kiss Hashem? Well, when you say words of Torah with devotion, that's called kissing. That's there's a story of the previous Rebbe. He was a very beautiful child, and he was sleeping in his bed, and his father came in to see him and he saw the beauty of his young son, and he wanted to give him a kiss. A kiss is a physical thing, so instead of giving him a physical kiss, he wrote a mimer for the sake of his son. So Torah, at the bottom of page 97 now, Torah hi mozen l'neshames she'asku b'Torah ba'olam hazeh b'Torah lishma. For which souls is the Torah mozen? For the souls who learned Torah and worked at learning Torah. Torah is work. Asku, they made it like their job to learn Torah for the sake of Hashem, with love and devotion, because it's so precious to them So then the Torah becomes mozain, becomes food for the neshama in the world to come. And now he gives a reference for this in the Zohar, where the Alter Rebbe is not making this up. He wants you to know this is from holy books, holy sources, what he's giving over to us. And there it defines, what does it mean, lishma? Bottom, last paragraph, 97, page 97. Hainu, kedei, lishma means to connect. Lekasher, nafshay. You're learning Torah, you're doing a mitzvah in order to connect your soul to Hashem. Lekasher, nafshay la Hashem. A kesher is a knot, right? A mekusher is a person who's connected to his teacher, to his Rebbe. Hainu, kedei lekasher nafshay la Hashem. A person wants to connect his soul to God. That's why he's learning Torah. That's called lishma. Al yedei hasagas Torah, and through his understanding Torah, he's connecting his soul to Hashem. Ish kefi sichloi, page 98. Each person according to his intelligence. Kamesha Koso B'Pri Eitz Chaim is also written in the second book by Chaim Vital called The Fruit of the Tree of Life. Eitz Chaim means the tree of life, and he has a book called The Tree of Life and a book called The Fruit of the Tree of Life. But now the question arises, it's called the commentary. If Torah and mitzvahs each have their own unique quality, why should Torah study be greater than mitzvahs? And the Alter Rebbe answers by defining the terms of food and garments. Okay, v'hamazon he bechinas or, okay, now we get into Kabbalah language. Mazon, describing Torah as food, is it's the same way food comes into your system and becomes transformed into flesh and blood. So Torah comes into you and becomes transformed inwardly. And the levushim, but the garments that you wear are mitzvahs, are called garments. Same way your garments you wear outside. You don't wear your garment inside of you. Only the Torah comes inside of you. So the Torah you can say the Torah is in my intestines, but you can't say your mitzvahs are in my intestines. On the other, all the mitzvahs of the Torah we do physically. Now he's going to explain how even Torah is a physical thing. For this reason, Lochen Amru Rabbeinu Zichreim Livracha, our sages taught us, Shatal Torah Shakal Keneged Kol mitzvahs. Now this is the great general rule, that learning Torah weighs against all the mitzvahs. The obvious reason is because by learning Torah, you know how to do the mitzvahs. So all the mitzvahs are there in the Torah, teaching us how to do them. Lefisha ha-mitzvah, mitzvahs, hein levushim, because otherwise, mitzvahs are considered garments, something external. So the Torah, now, I hope you're getting this. The Torah is something internal, and mitzvahs are something external. You make challah, flour and water. You knead them together. You make the challah. You take the skin of an animal. You make a pair of tefillin. You take the wool of a sheep and you make tzitzis. You check it and make sure it doesn't have shatnez. You take the skin of an animal, you make a mezuzah, you put it up on the door. It's something external. It's not something inside of you. So the Torah is called an or panimi, a light, an internal light. Torah is called an internal light. A makif, a yarmulke is a makif. A woman wears a sheitel, that's a makif. The makif is something that's outside of you. But there's a level of light. If Torah is light, there's a level of light that surrounds a person. When a Rebbe comes into a room, it's like a light entered the room. You have the same experience. Some people, they have this charisma about them. They enter a room and the whole place lights up. Everybody feels it. That's an encompassing light. So the Torah is an encompassing light. It surrounds a person who's a person of Torah. There's a light of Torah that surrounds him, goes with him. So we have to understand that mitzvahs are external, like garments, and Torah is, mitzvahs are external, like and Torah is internal, like food. Now the Rebbe takes these two definitions and says, and this helps us all. Another way we can understand that the Torah is learning Torah, is studying Torah, is equal to all the other mitzvahs, not just because the Torah is about mitzvahs, or the Torah teaches us about mitzvahs, because on this level of consideration, the Torah is an internal light, and mitzvahs are an external light, and a surrounding light. So that's what he says, that mitzvahs are like a surrounding light, like garments. While Torah is both. Torah is an internal light, like food, but learning Torah is also a garment. Who's wearing it? If Torah is a garment, who's wearing the garment? And the answer is the intellectual soul, the rational soul. Shemislabesh ba be'iyuna v'limuda, and the rational soul is enclosed in learning Torah like a garment. So the Torah has both aspects. It's both food, nourishment in the intestines, but it's also like a garment that is worn by the intellectual soul. When a person is concentrating on the Torah and a study of the Torah and is together with respect and with love, and especially says not only that's if he's just learning the Torah quietly, but if he's saying it out loud with your friends, learning together with a chavrusa, and expresses the words of Torah physically, then the breath of his speech becomes an encompassing light. The breath of your speech becomes an encompassing light for the soul, for your soul. Just like any other mitzvah becomes a garment for your soul, so the words of Torah becomes also a garment for the soul, and as well becomes a nourishment for the soul that gives you energy and life. We conclude with these words, chapter 5. Move on tomorrow, beginning chapter 6. Putting it all into action. Now we've got all the pieces are in place. Now we have to put them in action. Now the struggle begins. There's a novel I read in my misspent youth, French novel about a young man's education in life. And he learns about life the hard way. And then after it all, he's standing, looking out over Paris, on a hillside overlooking Paris. And he says, okay, now it's you and me. He says, it's going to take on the world. So that's where we're going on. Now all the pieces are in place. Now we're going to find out how goes the struggle. There was a chassid, they called him the Rebbe's partisan. He fought with the partisans during the war. He was totally devoted to the Rebbe. One time, a friend of mine, Rabbi Shmuel Lucas, alive and working and teaching in London, said to him, how are you? And he replied, he says, you don't ask a soldier how he is. Never ask a soldier how you feel. That's why you ask a soldier. He says, you ask a soldier, how are things at the front? Have a good day.